IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach Podcast, the bite-sized podcast filled with quick and easy, actionable habits. Remember, great habits create that awesome life. I am Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach. And today's fun fact of the day has to do with molting. Did you know that most animals, insects, reptiles, and even birds go through a molting process? And yes, that's right, even you as a human being molts. We normally associate molting actually with snakes and insects. Molting is the process by which animals shed their outer layer of skin or feathers or other parts of their body. For example, an insect will shed its wings. A snake will crawl out of its own skin, and it does this by rubbing its head against a rock or a tree and then peeling itself out of that skin. In fact, while sliding out of the skin, it turns that discarded skin inside out, almost like we remove a sock. And my mother used to get so upset at me leaving my socks turned inside out when I used to come back from school. Oh, those good times. As humans, we are molting every single day, shedding tons of skin cells as we go about our daily life. In fact, most of the dust that we see lying around our home is nothing but dead skin. However, there are times in our lives where we figuratively molt the same way that a snake does. You see, a snake sheds its skin when it outgrows it. When its old skin begins to restrict the snake from the future growth potential that it has. It becomes stifling and suffocating. Along with the skin, the snake also gets rid of all the parasites and unwanted things in its outer layers, all those clinger-ons, the rubbish that it has collected over its life. So this molting is about shedding the old to make way for the new, make way for growth, make way for the next stage of life. And once in a while, we go through a feeling of uneasiness. That uneasy feeling that we cannot explain or understand. We feel that the world is closing in around us. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes you feel sad, low. You feel stifled. You feel restricted. The restlessness comes from that feeling of being trapped. And in your current reality, that feeling of being trapped gets represented in this fashion. You feel that you've outgrown whatever you are going through. And it is now time for a massive change. But you do not know what that is. There is a heavy feeling, and it is the weight that you're carrying with you. You do not feel free. You do not feel like you can run. You feel like you have to let go of something that you're holding on to. Finally, you feel that the future can be way better, only if things stop being the way they are. And it is this uneasiness with a hint of excitement that I'm talking about. Do you know this feeling? It happens to us all. I dedicated this podcast to this feeling because it was happening to me a lot. I'm currently, in fact, going through that phase. And there is a trick here to use in this phase to actually grow like crazy. Unfortunately, people get stuck in this phase. They get stuck feeling low, feeling bad, feeling sad. This then multiplies and multiplies. Something that could have been over in 2 days now takes 2 years. We know so many people who are caught in this funk. Some of us too might be caught in this funk. The trick here is to understand what is going on. It is molting. The uneasy feeling is because you have outgrown your current way of living and thinking. The feeling of shedding all these things that are restricting you and that are holding you down. Understand that the pain you are feeling is the pain of you peeling off your past life. And you can imagine how painful that is. But it is pain that is needed for the next stage of growth, that next stage of evolution. During this lockdown of 6 months, I went through 2 big cycles of molting. I can now feel the third one actually starting. And if you've been following me and what I share on Instagram, you might actually have noticed these cycles of change and the growth that followed immediately after that. And as your habit coach, I want you to realize that pain, strain, and uneasiness are signals for growth. So your simple habit to mold for change starts with identifying the pain and the uneasiness that you're going through. Then pause. Reframe the problem as I am molting, I am changing. This changes your mind to become excited about what you're going through and not fear it. This distinction is very important because as soon as you feel that excitement, you want to change. You're eager for it. Finally, put out a pen and paper and write down in detail what you are going through. What is the change you're envisioning? What the new life that is hiding under the surface is going to be like? What the change is going to be? Embrace the pain by being excited. Then decide on a time, find a rock, and just peel off the past and make way for the new growth. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. You can find lots more information on my website, awesome180.com, or check out different content on my YouTube channel called AWESOME180. That's Awesome180.
I hope you enjoyed that show. It's been a really fun week this week, as it is almost every week, but this week was particularly fun. Parmesh Shahani was on Cyrus Says, great conversation over there. We had a crossover event. Vineet Kanabar, host of the Storytellers and Storytellers podcast, came on Uncle Please Sit. Really interesting conversation about the future of digital content. Besides that, it was the 50th episode this week of Agla Station Adulthood. Congratulations to Ritasha and Ayushi. But yeah, they're 50 episodes down. They had Rekha Jha as the guest on that show. On Advertising is Dead, Varun had the founders of Foxymoron, Suvir Bajaj and Pratik Gupta on. Another really, really interesting conversation. So full of interesting conversations this week, and I hope to see you again next week.
Beta, did you know 79% of all scientists in NASA are Indian only?
देखो, इंडिया में टैक्स सिर्फ मिडिल क्लास भरती है. Everyone is just enjoying free यार.
आजकल के youngsters are only interested in partying and enjoying. उनको देश की पड़ी ही नहीं है.
बेटा तुम बस शादी कर लो, उसके बाद तो you can enjoy life like anything.
I will tell you what this country needs. This country needs 15 years of dictatorship. That is the only way to become a superpower. See the Chinese, how much they've progressed.
सुनो, तुमने ये WhatsApp forward देखा?
So what's common between all of these statements?
They're all absolutely rubbish.
Fake WhatsApp forwards that spread like wildfire.
And statements that defy any logic.
We are here to debunk them all.
Way of family WhatsApp groups, worst nightmare. Where what happens when you read a book.
Basically, we are just a bunch of guys who want to cut through the bullshit of everyone saying this, how it won't be true.
So that the next time someone confidently squeezes out some WhatsApp or Twitter BS, you can look them dead in the eye and go, Uncle, please sit.
So join me, Joel,
and me, Tushar,
every Mondays for a fresh new episode of Uncle, Please Sit.